Welcome back. Well, today's book is set in a place where there's a lot of snow. So let's read, okay? Snow Horses, a first night story, written by Patricia McLaughlin, illustrated by Mika Archer. Patricia McLaughlin was the author of many well-loved novels and picture books, including Sarah, Plain and Tall, the winner of the Newbery Award. Patricia was born in Cheyenne, Wyoming, but grew up in Minnesota and Connecticut. She received her BA in English at the University of Connecticut, married her husband Robert, worked as an English teacher for 1 year, but then stayed home to raise her kids. But after all 3 of them started school, at the age of 35, she started writing. In her later years, she lived in western Massachusetts, but always kept a small bag of dirt from the prairies to remind her of her Wyoming roots. Mika earned her BA in Multicultural Education from the University of Massachusetts and then taught for 15 years in a kindergarten. She has an illustration studio looking into the woods in western Massachusetts, where she and her husband now live, and another in a tiny cabin high in the Costa Rican mountains. And once she even had one in a tower in Spain. The house that she and her husband live in is a house that they built and raised their children in. Snow falling all day, all night, drifting over meadows and gardens and roads. The large and gentle Percheron horses, Tim and Tom, Midnight Black, are excited. They wait patiently in their barn. The snow-covered sheep run into the warm barn, complaining in sheep talk. But Tim and Tom love winter. They love the snow. They know the large sleigh is outside. "I'm coming, Snow Horses," calls their driver, Jenny. Tim and Tom neigh to her. Jenny comes into the barn, brushing snow off her coat and hat. The sheep baa at her, and she brushes the snow off the sheep, too. Tim and Tom nuzzle Jenny. "Are you ready for the night before the new year?" she asks. They snort to Jenny as if to say, "Yes, hurry." She leads them out of the barn, strung with tiny white lights. It is dusk, soon to be evening. She puts on their bridles with sleigh bells. She hitches them to the large sleigh. She turns on the sleigh lights and climbs up to her seat. The sleigh moves off into the snow. Their sleigh bells ring. The breaths of Tim and Tom make silver clouds. The sleigh makes a whisper sound in the snow, a comforting swish, swish, swish. Tim and Tom lift their feet happily. They love the snow. They love their work. They drive down the winding hill to the market, where 3 trumpets play on the porch to celebrate the last night of the old year. Children happily climb up into the wagon, wearing blue and red and purple wool hats and mittens. There is laughter and talk. A wind comes up and blows a boy's hat into the road. Someone races after it in the snow and tosses it back to him. A little golden dog comes out to run alongside the horses, a beacon in the dark. Tim and Tom pull the sleigh past the library with a light in every window. Across the old stone bridge, along the icy river, up the hill and down the hill, where in every window of every house there are little lights. The town sparkles. When the wagon stops at the market, the youngest child, Anna, in her mother's arms, leans over to kiss the nose of Tom. "Thank you," she says. Then, when the children go home to sleep under quilts with stuffed bears or a pet dog, maybe a cat, Tim and Tom have more to celebrate. They pull the sleigh to the manor where the older people wait. Grandmothers, grandfathers, aunts and uncles, and longtime friends. They bring blankets in the sleigh, and Tim and Tom pull them up the road again, past the houses with little lights, houses where some of the grandmothers, grandfathers, aunts and uncles and longtime friends were children. There is laughter and talk, and they remember when they were young and wore blue and red and purple wool hats and mittens, and remember when they rode their own horses to town, to school, up the hills and down the hills, back home again. And at the end of the night, the little golden dog has run alongside the whole way. She leaps up into her owner's arms to go home to sleep. Jenny and Tim and Tom go home again too. Jenny unhitches them. She leads them back through the doors of the barn where the little white lights still shine. The sheep are sleeping. She brushes Tim and Tom and gives them water, grain, and a cube of sugar each. They nuzzle her. She laughs. "You've already been kissed tonight," she says. Soon their eyes close. They sleep. The town sleeps too. The next morning, Tim and Tom will wake in sunlight. The town will wake in sunlight. The trumpets will play again. Happy New Year to the town, to the children, to the grandmothers, grandfathers, aunts and uncles and longtime friends, to Tim and Tom, to Jenny who drove them, and to a little golden dog who ran alongside the whole way of first night. Happy New Year! The end. So, I wish I lived someplace where there was snow and there were sleigh rides, right? It looks like it was a lot of fun and a great way to celebrate the end of the year and the beginning of the new one, right? You know, this is the time of year when we start to make resolutions for the new year. We're going to do things differently. We pick things that we think, okay, I need to work on that this year. And sometimes we do them, and sometimes in a couple of weeks, by the end of January, those resolutions kind of drop away. But that's okay. We just need to always remember that, you know, God is with us. God loves us. He knows what we're bad at. He knows what we're good at. And He loves us just the same. So, Happy New Year to you. And let's hope 2025 is exciting. See you next week. Bye-bye.